In this episode, I'm going to talk about Beyonce, the Webster Dictionary, and the difference between a teacher versus an educator. Let's elevate. Hey, what's up? I'm Kenton Simmons, the academic guru and leading authority on school improvement, as well as the author of Playing Your A Game. And welcome to episode number 3 of Educate to Elevate. This podcast is designed for teachers, educators, principals, administrators, deans, faculty, staff, caring adults, those office clerks, and anyone that's in the business of serving students. This podcast is designed to inject fuels of inspiration and fuels of encouragement to help you do what you do. Now, I've always grown up around music. I love music. I love rap. I love hip hop. I love jazz. I love gospel. I love classical. I love new age. I love all of it. But one of my favorite artists to hear sing and to perform is Beyonce. You know, Beyonce have had hits like Single Ladies and Put a Ring on It. But there's this one song, it was sort of a chant a few years ago. And the name of the song is Irreplaceable. You've probably heard the phrase where people say, you know, to the left, everything you own is in the box to the left. And then she goes on to say something like, you know, don't you get it twisted, don't you be confused, don't you ever think that you're not irreplaceable. And I think about that song, Irreplaceable, and I think about it in terms of teachers and educators and people like yourself. Not that you're irreplaceable, but I think about it from this standpoint of, are you unforgettable? You see, most students over their academic career, they're going to experience or come in contact with about 50 to 70 different teachers. From the time period they're in elementary school to middle school, high school, college, even if they go to grad school, it averages out to about 50 to 70 teachers. And here's the question that I want to ask you. Are you unforgettable? You see, the other day I was at a teacher's training and I had, it was in an audience full of 100 teachers, and I had them stand up. And I asked them this question. I said, please stand up if you can remember the names and the faces of teachers that have impacted you. If you can name 20. And then I had a few people look around and thought about it, and a few people stood up. Then I said, if you can remember the names and the faces of 10 different teachers and educators that's impacted you, stand up. Then a few more people stood. Then I said, hey, if you can remember the names and the faces of 5 teachers and educators that have impacted you, stand up. You start seeing more people standing up. And then I said, if you can remember the names and the faces of 4 or 3 or 2 or 1 educator, their names, their faces that have impacted you, please stand. And of course, everybody was on their feet by then. The question I ask you is this: are you unforgettable? You see, in the next 20 years, if I had the opportunity to speak to the students that you serve right now, and I asked those same students in 20 years, hey students, stand if you can remember the names and the faces of 20 teachers that have made an impact into your life. If I ask them to stand, if you can name the names and the faces and see the faces of teachers and educators that have impacted you. Can you name 5 teachers and educators that have impacted you? Please stand. I wonder, would your students in 20 years remember you. The other day, I was doing some research in the dictionary, and a lot of times I throw around this word teacher and educators, and other people throw around the word teacher and educator. So the nerd in me started to do some research, and I found an interesting article on teacher versus an educator. And it says this: the difference between a teacher and educator. Educators and teachers are two words that are often interchanged wrongly. There is some difference between the two words for that matter. The word educator is used in the sense of mentor. On the other hand, the word teacher is used in the sense of trainer. In fact, the word educator is used in the special sense of mentor. This is the main difference between the two words. The word educator is used mainly as a noun. An educator, check this out, an educator leaves a permanent impression upon those that are taught. Many times the taught considers such a persona that has left a permanent impression upon him as his mentor or educator. It is thus understood that not all teachers can be called educators. Only such of those teachers who leave a permanent mark in the hearts of the students alone can be called an educator. So here's the question at hand. Are you a teacher or are you an educator? Are you forgettable or are you unforgettable? Yes, are you forgettable or are you unforgettable? Are you a teacher or are you an educator? Are you leaving a permanent mark on the lives, on the hearts, on the minds of the students that you work with? Wait for it. Wait for it. Yes, I see you're thinking about that. Here's what I want you to practically think about. Here's what I want you to practically do today. I want you to think about what you're doing on an ongoing daily basis to make a permanent impression in the hearts and the lives of the students that you work with. What tattoos, yes, what tattoos are you drawing on their hearts? What tattoos are you imprinting on their mind? What impact are you making in the lives of the students that you're working with? Because in 10, 20, 50 years, will your students forget about you? Remember, it's not about you, it's about this calling. Did you enjoy this podcast? Was that helpful to you? Well, I want you to do 3 things for me. Number 1, I want you to show up in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this podcast. Leave me some comments, leave me a review. If you're in iTunes, go ahead and write a review. If you're in YouTube, leave me a comment. If you're on my website at educatetoelevate.tv, down below, let me know what you thought about this episode. Number 2, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to educatetoelevate.tv. Just simply click the subscribe button so that every Wednesday, if you listen to this on your mobile device, on your computer, your tablet, whatever it may be, riding in the car, every single Wednesday morning, this will show up just for you. And number 3, go ahead and share this information. Yeah, do you know other educators and people that are in the business of serving students? Do you think this will benefit them? Well, be so kind to share educatetoelevate.tv with them. Again, my name is Canton Simmons, and remember this, there's only one game in life that counts, and that's your A game. I'll see you next Wednesday.